Welcome back to another edition of Viper Bites. I'm Matt Donnelly, and we are continuing on with our prospect profile series. And this time we are heading over to Western Michigan to talk about wide receiver Skyy Moore. But before we start breaking down everything that he does well, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure those notifications are turned up. And if you're listening to us on podcast platforms such as Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, make sure to take a second to rate and review us. Now let's review the tape here. Let's talk about Skyy Moore. Hey, back in high school, this kid, he played quarterback, he played defensive back, and he became the first player in conference history to rush and pass for 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons. This guy can get the job done. Twice named all conference on offense and on defense. He totaled 100 career touchdowns and 3,500 yards, while also dabbling a little bit in that B-ball there, earning all section honors as a point guard in both his junior and his senior seasons. Yes, this athletic profile, it checks out. We like our versatility in our players, and Skyy Moore, he's got plenty of that. Now let's look at the tail of the tape here. Let's look at those measurables here. Size, 5'10", 195 pounds. RAS score there, that relative athletic scoring, 7.55. 40-yard dash, 4.41 seconds. Vertical, 34.5 inches. Broad jump, 125. Three cone, 7.13. Now, when we look at this through player profilers analytics here, speed score, 96.8, and that's the 61st percentile. Burst score, 121.2, that's in the 50th percentile. College dominator, hey, when we're talking about some of the most dominant college players in the nation, Skyy Moore's name is right up there. 44.8% in the 91st percentile. And when you look at his college target share, 99th percentile at 39.5%. Breakout age, 62nd percentile at 20 years of age. When we're looking at Skyy Moore, let's kind of go back here and let's look at the last three seasons, the 2019, 2020, and 2021 season at Western Michigan. Let's talk about that first year. As a freshman, he was the first MAC true freshman wide receiver to be named the first team All-MAC selection since 2015, when Roger Lewis of Bowling Green earned that honor, and only the third true freshman receiver since 1982. And hey, he was the first Bronco wide receiver to be named first team All-MAC since Corey Davis in 2016. You may remember those names. Corey Davis most recently. Roger Lewis, hey, he kind of roamed those fantasy circles there around draft time for just a short minute, but hey, a name that we do not forget around here. Now back to Skyy Moore and that freshman season, 51 receptions, 802 yards, 15.73 yards per reception to go along with 3 touchdowns. Now Moore, he also led the MAC freshman in receiving receptions per game, and was 4th nationally among rookies when it came to receiving yards. Now in 2020, Western Michigan and Skyy Moore, they only played in 6 games. Moore had 25 receptions for 388 yards, 3 touchdowns, and despite the small sample size, we were able to draw some serious positives here in that target share, seeing that increase from 20.8% to 23.6%, while catching 67% of those passes thrown his way. Of note, he was also in competition for targets with now Seahawks receiver Dwayne Eskridge. Now, Moore, he had himself a season here in 2021. Call it a breakout if you want. Both Caleb Ellaby, something just clicked this last season. 95 receptions. That was 9th in the FBS. 1,292 yards, 10 touchdowns in just 12 contests, while recording a very respectable 19.6 yards per reception. Now, when we look at those 95 catches, that accounted for 70% of his 135 targets. So, you know, Ellaby was looking his way, and Moore, hey, he made the most out of that 36.9 target share. Moore had 7 games this past season of 100 receiving yards or more, and 10 games with 10 or more receptions. Maybe the best thing for Moore is what he was able to do when he got that ball in his hands. Moore also broke 28 tackles in 2021. Now, to put that into perspective, Chris Olave there, a guy we're talking about here as one of the top wide receivers in this year's draft, he was only credited with 10 broken tackles in 176 receptions throughout his college career. Now, looking at these strengths and weaknesses when we're talking about Skyy Moore, you have to start with the 3.3% drop rate. Only George Pickens was better in that category. Good production all 3 seasons at Western Michigan. Gets his head turned back very quickly to the quarterback, and his separation percentage when lined up wide Versus man coverage, top 18 wide receiver per PFF is big board. You had Jameson Williams there at 83.8%. And at number 2 was Skyy Moore at 76.3. Yes, that's even ahead of the 70.6% in which Garrett Wilson was able to put out there. Now, weaknesses. The one thing when you watch him run his patterns, rounds them off a little bit too much, which allows defenders to cut underneath. And compared to some of these other small receivers, Moore's post-catch acceleration is a little less than average. Now, what's not less than average, I'm telling you this right now, is over at fantasypoints.com. And that is the 2022 NFL Prospect Guide, courtesy of all those great minds over at Fantasy Points, including Greg Cassell and his 200-plus rookie profiles. You got Wes Huber there, Joe Dolan, Scott Baird, Graham Barfield, John Hansen. All the big-name guys, they're all here. But wait, you're going to get film analysis, strengths, weaknesses, measurables, combine results, NFL transitions, which is very key, especially when we're talking about guys like Skyy Moore. You get mock drafts, rankings, both on the Devy and the rookie end of things. And hey, you want a better deal, another deal on top of that? This is only $25. But if you go to fantasypoints.com right now and use promo code VIPERS22, you get 10% off your subscription to the website today. What are you waiting for? You got nothing to lose and everything to gain with some of the best minds in fantasy sports. Now let's get back to talking about Skyy Moore. Does anyone else get themselves a little bit of a Golden Tate type vibe when they're looking at Skyy Moore and what he can bring to a team? Moore does a great job at breaking tackles and setting up additional yards after the catch. He also has good ball skills and isn't afraid to make plays in the belly of the beast of opposing defenses. Moore looks like the part of a slot receiver, but there are some concerns when it comes to his ability to separate from defenders. Look for him to improve in his routes and releases off the line in an effort to gain separation moving forward. It would not surprise me if somehow, some way, we heard Skyy Moore's name called on day 1 of the NFL draft. I mean, the hype is going there. And the film, I can see how a good offensive coordinator could fall in love with this guy. And if you love falling in love, hey, love us here at the Vipers Network, because when news breaks, when trades take place, when it all goes down, we are here to help you win your fantasy leagues. So make sure to get those notifications turned up, and we will see you next time. Take care now.